So maybe your Spanish reading is great, but your speaking isn't quite so good. Well, don't worry, in today's video, we are going to fix that with the tips and tricks that took my Spanish fluency and confidence all the way to the top. So we're also going to tell you possibly the most embarrassing thing that an English guy could ever say to his future Spanish mother-in-law, and how it was an amazing Spanish learning opportunity. So that is a story worth hanging around for. Are we going to start with that, or
no?
Marina doesn't even want me to tell it. Okay, we will start quickly by saying make sure that you've got our free report, 15 slang words and phrases that every intermediate Spanish learner should know. There's a link underneath for that. And you're going to need those phrases as well, because we're going to talk about how they can help massively with your confidence later on. All right, so Marina, she doesn't want to start with the mother-in-law story.
No way.
Okay, we'll get to that in a minute.
We need to start serious.
Okay, serious. Point number one, to massively increase your fluency and confidence in spoken Spanish is what we call the yin and the yang. Now, what we're going to do, Marina's going to explain these points in Spanish, and I'll sum up quickly in English at the end of each one, more or less like that. Okay, so, el yin y el yang. ¿Cómo se dice yin y yang en Spanish?
Pues yin y yang, sin más.
Ok, ¿cuál es? ¿Qué es esto?
Vale, pues para hablar con una persona, para tener una conversación, necesitamos dos habilidades. Uno, poder entender a la otra persona, y dos, poder hablar. Si podemos entender bien a la otra persona, podemos enfocar toda nuestra energía mental, que se requiere mucha energía mental para poder hablar en otro idioma, en hablar. Entonces, es muy importante para poder hablar que tu habilidad de comprensión esté lo mejor posible. Y por eso yo soy muy fan, ya lo sabéis, de listen, 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 escucha, escucha, escucha.
Okay. If you want great speaking, you've got to have great listening. As Marina said, you know, it takes so much weight off when you're in a conversation with somebody if you have got your listening really well, because you're not struggling on that side. That's already pretty sorted. So the better your listening is, the greater opportunity you give your listening. Does that sound right?
Exactly.
Exactly. So while you're developing your speaking confidence, keep listening. Okay, remember, this is how we all learn the language as kids, as babies. We listen, 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 and eventually we start speaking, but the listening's got to be there first, okay? All right, number two, mistakes time. Love mistakes.
Love mistakes.
They're gold. Okay. El error más grande que yo he hecho jamás en español fue cuando estuve hablando con estaba hablando con la madre de Marina, la segunda vez que le había visto en mi vida, ¿no?
Muy bien.
Hace muchos años, cuando empezamos a salir, Marina y yo.
Muchos años.
Sí. Marina dijo, ven a comer con mi madre y mi familia. Y antes de la comida en la cocina, la madre de Marina me dijo, ven, ¿cuál es tu comida favorita? Y yo pensé, mi comida favorita, el curry, sí, me gusta la comida india. Dije, me encanta polla a la korma, que suena fatal en español, porque no es polla, es pollo a la korma, ¿vale? Pero...
Ben lo feminizo porque korma acababa en...
Korma, polla. Better not with pollo. In fin, time to explain, in case you didn't quite get that. So Marina's mother, the second time I ever met her, Marina said, come and have lunch with my family. In the kitchen before lunch, Marina's mum said, what's your favourite food? And I thought, chicken korma, you know, lovely Indian food. So I said, polla a la korma, when it should have been pollo. What's the problem? Pollo is chicken, polla is the male member.
Stop saying it, Ben.
Let's just leave it at that. Anyway, Marina's mother, I just thought, you know, put an A on the end, because korma's got an A on the end. Everything seems to agree in Spanish. Anyway, big mistake. So Marina's mother collapsed on the floor, almost laughing. Marina laughed. I felt like a complete idiot, but it actually did wonders, I think, for the meal ahead.
Did you ever make that mistake?
And I never made that mistake ever again. The autocorrect updated itself in my brain, and I knew when to use that word with an A on the end and that word with an O on the end. Okay, so great learning opportunities. ¿Qué más podemos decir sobre los errores?
Vale, pues efectivamente esto. Los errores son grandes oportunidades de aprendizaje. Por un lado, si cometes un error gordo, es que no te olvidas, porque lo pasas tan mal y pasas tanta vergüenza que se te queda grabado. Pero por otro, a veces cometemos errores más pequeños y quizá alguien nos corrija o quizá nosotros mismos nos demos cuenta de que lo que hemos dicho no está bien y luego a lo mejor más tarde averigüemos o preguntemos a alguien cómo se diría bien. Y entonces esto nos da una oportunidad para aprender, ¿no?
Yeah. So often if we're speaking to someone, they might correct us and then we get it and we've got it. Maybe we say it and at the same moment we think that didn't sound right and we go and look it up later, or we know that because we've seen it written somewhere else. Well, but I would say that my Spanish fluency is built on millions of mistakes. But if I'd never made them, I would not speak as well as I do now. I would say it's better to speak an hour with loads of mistakes than to speak 1 minute perfectly.
Sí, de hecho, alguien nos escribió, ¿no? que tenía un amigo italiano, no, nos lo contó alguien alemán, realmente no fue con español, que tenían un amigo italiano que hablaba fatal, pero que se atrevía a hablar sin parar y que de hecho la gente estaba encantada con él porque se reían con él de sus errores y él aprendía un montón, ¿no?
Yeah, so there's an Italian guy that someone told us about this guy. He'd go out, for example, on the streets in Madrid at night and he would talk to...
No, era en alemán.
Okay, yeah, sorry, he was speaking German. In Italian speaking German, but the point is the same. He'd go out in Germany and speak to everyone. And the friend of this guy asked a German person, how's his German? And the guy was like, it's terrible, but it doesn't matter because he's a really nice guy and he's talking to everyone, and the guy literally made friends wherever he went. So mistakes aren't as important as connection. And that is the next point, because the next point is huge. And it is fluency above accuracy. Marina, ¿a ti te gusta esa manera de hablar y aprender?
Vale, es
Fluency above accuracy.
Fluidez por encima de la precisión o la perfección.
Yeah.
Vale, pues a mí tengo que decir que me sentaba fatal cometer errores y yo era muy perfeccionista, entonces era muy de repasar, de estudiar mucho la gramática y de hablar menos, poquito. Y claro, yo esto lo aprendí con Ben, esta facilidad para cometer errores y que no te importe. Como que los echas para atrás y sigues y no te quedas atascado en el error. Entonces, esta habilidad de poder dejar pasar a los errores y poner por encima la fluidez de la precisión, creo que es una habilidad que ayuda mucho al aprendizaje de un idioma.
Yeah.
Y no fue mi manera natural de aprender, pero yo aprendí esto de Ben, que fue un gran ejemplo para mí con este tema, porque es que no le importaba cometer un error detrás de otro.
Me acuerdo una vez que fui a Cuenca con un amigo, mi primer año en España. Fuimos a Cuenca antes de conocer a Marina y fuimos a la discoteca un viernes por la noche y yo hablaba con todo el mundo y me daba igual cometer errores, un poco como este chico, el italiano, ¿no? Quería hablar con todo el mundo.
¿Cuántos cubatas te habías tomado?
¿Cuántos cubatas había tomado? 1 o 2, creo. Eran otros tiempos. Y hablé con muchísima gente. Y yo en esa noche mi confianza mejoró un montón. So yeah, I went my first year in Spain. I remember a night in Cuenca, a small village 150 kilometers from Madrid. A friend and I went out to a disco and I chatted to everyone. May have had 1 or 2 cubatas, as Marina said, which would be a rum and coke or something like that. Anyway.
What we used to drink.
What we used to drink in those days, yeah. That would be the end of me now. Anyway, so yeah, we had a great time. I talked to everyone and my confidence just got boosted so much that night, but I probably made endless mistakes. Okay, so...
A veces un vinito puede ayudar a soltar la lengua. No es que os vayamos a animar a que bebáis alcohol, pero...
No, don't drink alcohol, but Marina says that wine can sometimes help you loosen your tongue. That's very true. Okay, but I want... Some people will say, yeah, but you can't just speak badly forever, no? There is a point later on where it is good to start working a bit on accuracy, but after you've got the fluency going.
Exacto.
If you worry about perfectionism while you're getting fluent, you're not going to get very fluent. You want to get going, get your confidence going. It's really a virtuous circle. And later on, when you're feeling good about speaking, it's time to start working a little bit on the grammar or, sort of puliendo, polishing things a bit.
Exacto.
No? That's how I did it. Okay, next. Find speaking opportunities everywhere.
Sí.
Por
Encuentra
ejemplo.
oportunidades para hablar en cualquier lugar. Por ejemplo, bueno, la grande sería intercambio, que la vamos a ver ahora, ¿no? Buscar un intercambio. Pero podría ser que hables con los taxistas, por ejemplo.
Lo que he aprendido yo de los taxistas. Sí.
Ben ha invertido mucho dinero en tomar clases particulares con los taxistas durante una época de su vida.
Dinero muy bien invertido. Una clase de 20 minutos, a lo mejor 5 euros, bueno, más ahora, pero...
En aquellos tiempos, pero
sí,
bueno,
sí.
y eso.
En aquellos tiempos, pues, y lo que aprendí.
Y lo que sigues aprendiendo, ¿no?
Y sigo aprendiendo, sí.
Tenemos oyentes como Janet, que habla con su repartidor de Amazon, ¿no?
Yeah.
O algún otro estudiante que nos ha comentado que habla, va a un restaurante mexicano regularmente y habla con los camareros en el restaurante mexicano. Pues buscar cualquier oportunidad que tengas para hablar español. Y si todavía estas oportunidades son difíciles o no, además podemos buscar un intercambio.
Eso es. So, look for speaking opportunities everywhere. It doesn't matter if you live in Utah or Lincolnshire or Sydney. It doesn't matter. You can still speak Spanish. First of all, there's the case of Janet, as Marina says, who lives in the States, but there's a lot of Spanish speakers in the States. And the other day she sent us an email saying how much she'd got from chatting to the person that brought her Amazon delivery. No, but she's always chatting to everyone in restaurants, whatever. If you're in a Spanish-speaking country, do what I did. Every time you get in a taxi or an Uber, I still do, I start chatting to them, and I've learned the best slang ever that way. And as Marina says, it's like almost like you're paying for a Spanish lesson as you're on your cab ride.
I've never seen it like that.
Yeah,
before this moment.
But it's true. What do you say to them? The best way I ever get chatting to taxi drivers or Uber drivers, I'll say, ¿Llevas mucho tiempo trabajando hoy? Have you been working for a long time today?
How many hours are you going to do?
How long are you going to work today? And that always gets things going. So,
intercambios.
Intercambios.
Vale, intercambios. Tenemos cientos de estudiantes o miles que utilizan intercambios para practicar el habla, ¿no? Para hablar en castellano. Creemos que es la mejor opción para practicar el habla y hay gente que tiene 1, 2 o 3 intercambios. A veces el primer intercambio que encuentras no funciona, no pasa nada, seguimos buscando. Y la gente pues habla de maravillas de sus intercambios, de lo que comparten, de que a veces van de viaje a verles a sus ciudades y les enseñan su ciudad de manera maravillosa. O sea que es una oportunidad estupenda para practicar y para a veces tener una conexión cultural también.
Cultural, y a veces se casan. Sometimes they get married. Yeah, we started out as intercambios, so you never know where this could end up. All right, so intercambios, I think the best speaking opportunity that exists. And it can also go further, as Marina says, you can end up visiting them in their country and having a really wonderful sort of cultural, sort of just connection at every level, really, especially if you come over and see them wherever they live or vice versa. So my languageexchange.com, conversationexchange.com, you'll find lots more via Google. We have students who've got up to 3 intercambios at once. There's no limits here. If you get one and you're not sure if it's right for you, just go and find another one. Some people go through 3 or 4 until they find one they like, but it's the best. Can't be beaten. Yeah, and you might end up married, so you never know. Okay, next point. 2 more to go. Both super important. All production helps. What does this mean, Marina? All production helps?
It means, quiere decir que es importante producir no solo hablando, pero también podemos producir escribiendo. Y este español escrito, en el que tenemos un poquito más de tiempo para pensar, para corregir, para buscar la preposición adecuada y el tiempo verbal adecuado, nos ayuda a que cuando luego tengamos una conversación las estructuras y las reglas gramaticales que vamos aprendiendo las apliquemos en la conversación.
Porque es la misma función del cerebro. Hablar es producir, escribir es producir. Podemos recibir de libros y de escuchar, pero a la hora de hablar, que es producir, nos puede ayudar mucho si también practicamos de otras maneras.
Sí, y puede ser escribiendo un diario, puede ser contestando en algún Instagram de alguien que te guste, y podría ser simplemente pensando en español, también eso es producir.
Yeah, so production helps. There's two ways our brain works with languages. One is input, really, and the other is output. We're talking about output today, which is speaking, confidence, fluency, but we can boost that by the other way that humans produce language, which is by writing things. Even if you just write a couple of sentences today or a day in Spanish, or go and find Instagrammers you like, or someone on Facebook or wherever, and comment on Spanish, it will help a lot.
We have a listener who speaks to her intercambio once a week, but they also exchange WhatsApp messages during the week to practice their writing.
Yep, and it helps a lot. So, last point, another good story coming up now, and it is learn and use Spanish phrases that you love. Un ejemplo, por favor, Marina.
Vale, tenemos una oyente que fue a Mallorca y en un restaurante le dijo al camarero: está para chuparse los dedos, que lo había aprendido con nosotros. Y el camarero estaba tan encantado que llamó a la cocinera y al dueño para conocer a esta oyente, que estaba encantada de la vida. Fue una experiencia maravillosa para ella.
So one of our students was in a restaurant in Mallorca, in Spain, and she said to the waiter about the food, está para chuparse los dedos, is finger licking good. The waiter was so surprised to hear this super great slang or just kind of everyday Spanish phrase from a foreign person that he went and got the cook out of the kitchen. He went and got the owner and said, look how well this person speaks Spanish. Look what they said about our food. And she met all of them and had the time of her life. So using real kind of slightly slang, fun phrases that you just really enjoy. First of all, they're going to create real connection. Secondly, by learning phrases like this, you're just going to love the language more. The more you love it, you're just investing in your confidence and joy of the language, and that's going to help with fluency, confidence, and as we've seen, connection. Okay. Shall we go through a quick recap? Point number 1 was
listening before speaking.
Yep. Remember, to speak well, you need to listen well. And as Marina says, always listen, listen, listen. Never stop listening. It's the key to fluency. Okay, the yin and the yang. Number 2.
Mistakes equals progress.
Yes, be careful what you say to your future mother-in-law when you're talking about food. But the more mistakes you make, the better you will progress. As I said, I've probably made millions of mistakes in Spanish, and it's helped me hugely to get really fluent. Okay, number 3.
Fluency above accuracy.
At least to begin with, work on your fluency. It'll boost your confidence. Later, you can start polishing everything into wonderfully accurate Spanish. Next.
Seek speaking opportunities.
Yes, any way you can. The Spanish speaker who's bringing you stuff to your house, if that's the case, or in a local Mexican restaurant. But best of all, get yourself an intercambio. That can change everything. Okay, including your entire life. In our case, right.
Use phrases you love.
Hang on, you've missed one.
Sorry.
All production helps.
Yes.
Go and
write and think in Spanish. Yeah.
Comment on an Instagrammer in Spanish every couple of days, every day. It'll help a lot. Right. And yes, finally,
use the phrases you love.
Use the words and phrases you love. So yeah, if your favorite word, like most of us, is tikis-mikis, go and find a way to use it every day. All right. Are we done? I think we're done. Right. Make sure, use phrases you love. Get that report underneath, 15 slang Spanish phrases that every intermediate Spanish learner must know. These are brilliant. Use them, and the waiter will be, going to get the cook out of the kitchen and the owner over to chat to you at your table, that kind of thing. If you want the best listening, we think the best listening material, the most authentic, for learning Spanish, check out our courses. There's a link for that underneath, especially our Real Intermediate course. We have great, interesting conversations in Spanish, and we pick out all the words and phrases that we know you need to know to get really fluent and advanced in Spanish. Plus, there's great background material, recommendations, and a lot more. So check out the link underneath for that as well. And yeah, there's another video for you to watch up there if you'd like to do that as well. Great, go for it. Grab those links. ¿Algo más?
Nada más.
Venga, hasta la próxima.
Hasta luego.